Here's the Unit 1 review material for Math 123. Number 1, round 8.78 to the nearest tenth. The 10th place is right there. So since the 8 is 5 or more, I'm going to round up. So this is 8.8. Number 2, a small computer company runs 4 manufacturing plants, each of which produces 2 models of computer laser printers, Model A and Model B. The double bar graph below shows the number of printers of each model produced during the last year. Use this graph to answer the questions. So it says estimate the number of Model B printers produced at the West Side plant. So here's the West Side. And Model B is the one with the slanted lines. So I can see, so it's, I'd say maybe about 390. And it's just an estimate, so okay. So I can see it's somewhere between 350 and 400. Okay, which plants produced more Model A printers than Model B? So all I'm checking to see is uh, if Model A is the red bars, it's the ones where the red bar is above the shaded bar. So this one and this one. So that's going to be East Side and Pineview. Okay. Which plant produced the most printers total? So that means we're looking at A and B combined. So if we look at these, and I'm not even going to necessarily try and figure out how many there are, but we can see that, it's not going to be it's not going to be Woodland, and it's not going to be the West Side. And if I look at East Side and Pineview, East Side's red bar is bigger than Pineview's red bar. East Side's Model B bar is bigger than Pineview, so it's got to be this one. So East Side. It didn't ask how many, it just said which plant. So it's just the East Side plant. I didn't actually figure out how many. The only time I had to estimate anything was on that first question. Okay. Okay. Number 3, write 6.91 in standard notation. So I see that's 10 to the 5th, which means my result is going to be a big number. So I need to move the decimal place in a direction that's going to take me up to a big number. So I'm going to write down my 6.91. And then I'm moving it to the right, but I'm not thinking about my left and right per se. I'm moving it so that I'm going to end up with a big number at the end. And I'm moving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places. Now I'm moving it from the decimal point. Okay. I'm not putting 5 zeros on the end. I'm moving it 5 places. And then any place that doesn't have a digit in it, I'm going to put a placeholder 0. Now that doesn't look too great. I'm going to rewrite it. So my final answer my presentable answer is going to be 691,000. Okay. This is my work to get there, but it doesn't look nice. Okay, number 4, write 0.0000753 in scientific notation. So I'm going to start with 7.53 times 10 to the something. This is where I want to end up, and I need to move my decimal point. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places. So I moved it 5 places to the right. And again, not too worried about left and right. I'm thinking about the fact that I started with a number that's smaller than 1. So since I'm starting with a number that's smaller than 1, I'm going to put a negative sign. And I moved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places. So it's going to be to the negative 5. So 7.53 to the negative 5 is my final answer. Okay. A humpbacked whale can weigh up to 110,000 pounds. Write this number in scientific notation. So 110,000. It has an implied decimal point right here. And to get this into scientific notation, so I'm going to have 1.1 times 10 to something. So I'm moving my decimal point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places. Oh no, 5 places. Okay, and I'm starting with a big number. Okay, that number's bigger than 1. So since I moved it 5 places, it's going to be to a positive 5. So 1.1 times 10 to the 5. Okay, a certain solution has a hydrogen atom concentration of 9.14 times 10 to the negative 4 moles per liter. Write this number in standard notation. So I see that it's to the negative 4. That means my result is going to be a number that's smaller than 1. So I'm going to move my decimal point appropriately. I need to move it 4 places. In this case, I'm going to go left because that's going to give me that strictly decimal number, right? So I moved it 4 places. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I have some empty spots. I'm going to put placeholder zeros. Okay, so there's where my new decimal point is. And I'm going to write it nicely. So I'm going to put that leading 0 that we like up front, and then 0, 0, 0, 9, 1, 4. Okay. Light travels 1.8 times 10 to the 7 kilometers in 1 minute. How far does it travel in 6 minutes? Write your answer in scientific notation. So I have 1.8 times 10 to the 7 kilometers per minute. And how far is it going in 6 minutes? So I multiply by 6 minutes. Okay. So now I need to take 6 and multiply that by 1.8 times 10 to the 7th. Okay, so I have, let's see. Um, let's see, 6. So I have 10.8 times 10 to the 7 kilometers. Okay, and I need to move that 1 place. So I'm going to end up with 1.08 times 10. And since I am going from a big number, then that's going to increase the exponent. Since I moved it 1 place, it's going to increase it by 1. So it's going to be times 10 to the 8th. Oh, keep losing where my cursor is. There we go. Okay, number 8, answer these questions, write 130% as a decimal. So 130%, the percent symbol means divide by 100. So I end up with 1.3. Write 0.0029 as a percentage. So the trick for that is, or at least one trick for that is multiply by 100%. So then I get 0.29%. Okay. 315% of what number is 82.53? So convert 315% into a decimal. So that's 3.15. Of means multiply. What number means X. Is means equals. And then I write down my 82.53. And I see I just need to divide both sides by the 3.15. Okay, so now that gets the X by itself. Okay, so I get 26.2. Okay, 26.8% of 67.5 is what? So convert the percentage to a decimal. Of means multiply. 67.5 goes as is becomes an equal sign, and then what becomes X. Now, this one's pretty trivial. I'm just multiplying. I don't even have to solve for anything. So I get 0.268 times 60, oops, oh no, 0.268 times 67.5, and I get 18.09. Okay, suppose an individual has a body fat percentage of 13.1% and weighs 136 pounds. How many pounds of weight is made up of fat? Round your answer to the nearest tenth. So percent problems, if it's a story problem, I just like going straight to the proportions. And then we get our free spot. And then if it's a percentage, that just goes above the 100. Okay, so now that body fat percentage, that's the percent of their weight that's made of fat. And then they told us their total weight, which is 136 pounds, that total weight is going to go across from the 100. And again, what we're trying to look for is how much of their weight is fat, or how many pounds of fat is in their body. So that's that question there. So keep these things in mind when you're setting these up. And then now all there is to do is cross multiply and divide. I get 17.816. So to the nearest tenth, I have 17.8 pounds. Okay. Book sold 38,800 copies in its first month of release. Suppose this represents 7.1% of the number of copies sold to date. How many copies have been sold to date? Round your answer to the nearest whole number. So, okay, I like to set this up. And when I'm reading these, I'm checking to see if it's giving me a percent increase or decrease. You have to be careful with that. In this case, it's not. It's just a regular percentage. That 38,800 copies is what was sold in the first month, and it said this represents 7.1%. So that 38,800 should be across from the 7.1, because what's going on here is this is the first month, and this is uh, I guess called the total or the overall. So that's what we're looking for. How many have been sold to date? So now cross multiply. You don't have to use proportions to set these up, but I feel like it's just a bit easier for the story problems. So to the nearest whole number, I have 546,479. Okay. An item is regularly priced at $29. It is now priced at a discount of 40% off the regular price. Find the price now. So that's a 40% decrease. So we need to convert that. So then that means that I can take 100% minus the 40%, and my final price is going to be 60% of the original. And, I can use proportions. I could, however I want to handle that. So I have that. The regular price is $29. So that's going to be across from the 100. And what we're trying to find is the discounted price. Okay, so I have 100x equals 60 times 29. And to be honest, you don't have to set it up so that you're doing all of this algebra. Um, if I was in the store, I would just be thinking, take 0.6 times 29. There's so many ways to think about these. Okay, so x, so I have 17.4. But I would just be thinking, 29 times 0.6 will get me there just the same. So I'm just showing you one thing. So I get this 17.4, but I want this to look like money. So I'm going to rewrite this as $17.40 is the sale price. Now you might be like, could I have just taken, could I have just done, 29 times 40%, so times 0.4, and what do you get when you do that? So 29 times 0.4, you get 11.6, so you get, oh no. So you get $11.60, and then you could take 29 minus that, and you also get the $17.40. So I don't care how you do it, as long as you know what you're doing. So you can do it either way. All right. The price of a cup of coffee has dropped to $2.20 today. Yesterday's price was $2.55. Find the percent decrease. This is a relative change problem, so you have to have this formula memorized for the test. So my percent decrease or increase, I use this relative change formula, which is new minus old divided by old. And I can go through and look at the question. It says, this one's today, yesterday was that. So my today price, that's the newest one. My yesterday's price, that's the oldest one. So now I have 220 minus 255 divided by 255. Okay, so I get negative 0.137. Did I say that right? Okay. And then that's going to be negative 13.7%. Okay, so it's a 13.7% decrease. I can get rid of the negative sign if I write the word decrease with it. Okay. And the nice thing, if they tell you that it's supposed to be a percent decrease, if you get your new and your old switched around by mistake, it's going to tell you because you're going to get if you get a positive answer, then oops, take a look and see if you got some things backwards. So new minus old, all divided by old. Okay, Titan and Ivy join a weight loss club. Titan weighs 194.7 pounds and Ivy weighs 165.3 pounds. Compare Ivy's weight to Titan's weight using absolute change. Explain your answer using a complete sentence. So if if you see this kind of comparison, there's no time. So you have to think it's new to old. So the Ivy weight is the new, the Titan weight is the old or the original. So let's go up here and see. Okay, so this is the old, and then Ivy is the new. Oops. So then my absolute change, that's supposed to be a letter B. Absolute change is new minus old. So I'm going to do Ivy minus Titan. So it's going to be the 165.3 minus the 194.7. Oh no. There we go. So I get negative 29.4. And then that's pounds. So now if I want to use this in a sentence, I could say something like Ivy weighs 29.4 pounds less than Titan. So I got this, and then here's the other part of my answer. Oh, that's crazy. Okay. There are 5 green apples and 6 red apples in a basket. What is the ratio of red apples to all apples in the basket? Uh, so that's 6 red, and then 5 plus 6 equals 11. So that would be my all. And then it said red to all. So that's going to be 6/11. Okay. Or 6/11, depending on how you might be asked for it. Either one of those would be correct unless I'm asking it for it in a fraction, or if I, say using a colon or whatever. What is the ratio of green apples to all apples in the basket? So then that's it was 5 green, so green to all. So that's going to be 5/11. Or, and you don't have to put both unless it is specifically asking for it. So with a colon, it would look like 5/11. So okay, write this ratio as a fraction in simplest form without any units. So this is like that sandwich problem from class. So I have 18 hours to 2 days. So I know that one day is 24 hours. So then 2 days, I just double the hours, right? So it's 48 hours. So this would be 18 hours to 48 hours. So the hours are done. And then 18, that's 6 times 3. 48 is 6 times 8. So the 6's go away. So I have 3/8, and I can't reduce that any further. Okay. City has a population of 18,100 people. In the same city, there are 4,009 dogs. How many dogs are there per capita? So I'm going to take that 4,009 divided by 18,100. So I'm taking the number of dogs divided by the number of people. Okay. And it says right to 4 decimal places, so 0.2215. Okay. How many dogs are there for every 1,000 residents? So I'm going to take my previous answer and I'm going to multiply it by 1,000. So I have 221.5. And to be a bit more descriptive of that, that's going to be 221.5 dogs per 1,000 people. Okay, solve the proportion for y, round your answer to the nearest tenth. So that's going to be, oh no, 7y equals 11 times 3 divided by 7. So y to the nearest tenth, let's see what we get. So we get 4.7. Okay, Lisa drove 357 miles using 14 gallons of gas. At this rate, how many miles would she drive using 16 gallons? So I'm thinking miles and gallons, or I could have gallons on top and miles on the bottom, as long as I'm consistent. So there's the first part of the trip, and then, or at least one trip. And then I have another 16 gallons, and then we're trying to figure out how far she can drive. And I can figure out what X is by cross multiplying. And then dividing by the number that's multiplying by the X. And I have what? Okay, I got my calculator covering up. So 357 times 16 divided by 14. And it looks like I get exactly 408. The residents of a city voted on whether to raise property taxes. The ratio of yes votes to no votes was 3-4. If there were 6,188 total votes, how many no votes were there? So now I want to find no to total. So I'm going to just set up a proportion. And I know that 6,188 is going to be a total. And then we're looking for all of the no votes. So that's my unknown. Now, here's the tricky part. So it says yes to no was 3-4. So in this case, I have 4. So that initial ratio was 3-4, where the 4 was the no and the 3 was the yes. To figure out the total, I'm just going to add the 3 and the 4. So then I have 4/7 equals X over 6,188. I cross multiply, so I have 7X equals 4 times 6,188. Then I divide by 7. Oops. So I get 3,536. And then that was the number of no votes. Okay, Justin made $289 for 17 hours work at the same rate. How much would he make for 11 hours of work? So we have money and time. And I'm just going to set up a proportion. So I have $289 for 17 hours. And then we have 11 hours, and we're trying to figure out how much money he's making. So cross multiply, so 17x equals 289 times 11. Divide both sides by 17. So I get $187. Okay, and that's it. Good luck on the test. I'll see you in class.